Okay, I thought I'd connect with my spirit guides tonight. Am I connected to my spirit guides? Yes. Am I connected to my spirit guides? Yes. Connected to my spirit guides? Yes. Okay. So before we get into some of the questions I was going to ask, I thought it might be a good just sort of reminder, or maybe new information to some of how exactly this is working. So I'm sure there's some who are wondering if I'm moving this by myself or how exactly this is occurring. So I'm wondering if you could just explain how this is working with a different consciousness interacting through me, if you could. WEARERPROJECTING, projecting. OUR, hour. CONSCIOUSNESS. We are projecting our consciousness. Okay. And your awareness, or your I don't really know how else to call it, just your awareness, and you have been with me for my whole lifetime. That's what you've told me. Yes. And you've told me that you've been with me for other lifetimes. Have you been with me for all of my lifetimes? That is a huge yes. And how many of there are you? There are 3. Yes. And do you want to give us your names? I know you've told me before, but it's been quite a while. TOM, Tom. MATTHEW, Matthew. SERENA, Serena. Yes, those are my 3 spirit guides. Yes, absolutely. So thank you for doing that. I just don't think we've talked about that for a while, and I thought it might be just be something of interest that people might be interested in. So, and again, we were not connected until I asked to connect with you. And I also had to increase my frequency and vibration in order to do so. And we talked about letting go of traumas, forgiving those who have hurt us, and finding love. And I had to do some work on that myself in order to be able to connect. Yes. YOU did. Yes, definitely. And anyone can do this, though, can't they? Yes. They just have to put in a little bit of the work in order to address what's going on with themselves. And that's not always easy. And we were talking about that telepathically earlier today, that to look in the mirror and take a look at yourself and maybe what you need to learn from an experience is quite challenging sometimes, and many do not want to do it. It's a lot easier to point fingers at others and to not accept your responsibility in a situation, but to elevate your frequency and your vibration. You have to do the inner work to see where you can grow, where you can develop, where you can find love. So that was a big speech, but I just thought I'd mention that if others are interested in connecting, that it does take a little bit of work. So yes. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So spirit guides, I thought we could talk about where we go or what we experience in between lifetimes, because we may have talked about this, but it's been a really long time. So can you explain where we as souls go in between lifetimes? YOUUGO, go. TO2, DIFFERENT, different. PLACES, places. BASED, based. ON, on. YOUR, your. NEEDS, based on your needs. Okay, you go different places based on your needs. So if you had a particularly difficult incarnation, maybe you were really unkind to others, or maybe others were really unkind to you. Is there an example of a place where you may go in either of those situations? Yes. O U U M A Y may, G O go, T O two, A P L A C E place, O F of H E A L I N G. You may go to a place of healing. Okay, so some may think that there is some kind of judgment and punishment for those who have done wrong in the earthly experience, but that's not correct, right? Because again, we've talked about all being emanations of source, and all of these experiences are to learn. And so that kind of brings me to my next point or next question, which is, do some beings agree to come into the experience to play the bad guy? Yes. So there are beings who agree to come in to create maybe challenges and situations in order for souls to learn. Yes. Okay, is there anything else you can add about this? S-O-M-E, some, S-O-U-L, as souls, C-O-M-E, come, I-N-T, O, into, T-H-E, the E, X-P-E-R-I-E-N-C-E, experience, T-O-2, P-L-A-Y, play, R-O-L-E, as rolls, F-O, R4, G-R-O-W-T-H, for growth. Some souls come into the experience to play roles for growth, I think is what you said. Okay, so that would give us a different perspective on what's happening here, because in a lot of ways, someone creating harm or a situation that's challenging or difficult for you may be, in essence, an opportunity for you to look within yourself to find love. Would that be a good description of what a lot of this experience is about? Yes. Okay, wonderful. And so, do we create these contracts? I've heard that term talked about with different channelers and different spiritual leaders. We create soul contracts as an agreement to play these roles before an incarnation? Yes. Okay. S-O-U-L, soul, C-O-N-T-R-A-C-T, as contracts, A-R-E-R-A-B-I-G, big, P-A-R-T, part, O-F of, T-H-E, the E, X-P-E-R-I-E-N-C-E. So contracts are a big part of the experience. Okay. And so, do we all just kind of reconnect after the incarnation and look at how it went and basically do a review of what happened? Yes. So in some ways, that reminds me kind of like a play. It's kind of like a play. And so we're kind of each playing different roles. And the human incarnation experience has the veil of forgetfulness. And why is that? Why do we have the veil of forgetfulness before we come into the experience? I and N-O-R-D-E are in order, T-O-2, H-A-V-E, have, A-N-O-B-J-E-C-T, objective, E, X, P, E, R, I, E, N, C, E, in order to have an objective experience. Because again, if we knew all the rules before we came into the experience, then what would be the fun in that, or what would be the growth in that? So why now are things changing? So the veil is lifting, as we've talked about. So why is that happening at this time for us? BECAUSE, because THEEAR, the earth, is, ascending, in, FREQUENCY, frequency, and HUMANS, humans, must, increase, are there, VIBRATIO, and vibration, I and in, ORDE, are in order, TO2, go, WITH, with, HER, with her. So humans must increase their vibration to go with her, because she is a sentient conscious being herself, and she is increasing in frequency. And because we are on her, we're living on earth, we have to look within ourselves and increase our vibration too. Okay, yes, absolutely. So, okay. So is there anything else you'd like to add on any of these topics? I know that we kind of touched on the life in between life place. Is it a frequency? Is it many frequencies that we will go to while we determine our next step in the incarnation or reincarnation process? Yes. MANY, many, SOULS, souls, WILL, will, STAY, stay, I and in, PLACE, place, OF, of, HEALING, healing, WHEN, when, THEY, they, CROSS, cross, OVER. Many souls will stay in a place of healing when they cross over. Okay, so they don't reincarnate right away necessarily. And I know there's no time. There's no time, or time is different on the other side. So many have said that, and you've told me that too. It's hard for me to understand that from this perspective, but they can go to a frequency or a point where they can heal before they decide to reincarnate or decide not to reincarnate. So again, we've talked about this before. They don't have to reincarnate. It's the oversoul's choice to incarnate if they wish to continue to learn lessons. Okay, wonderful. Okay, well, that's a lot of information, so I'm grateful for that. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up this session? Yes. Okay. WELLOVE, love, YOU, love you, AND, and WEARER, PROUD, proud, OF, of, YOU, we love and we are proud of you. Well, I'm grateful to you because you have helped me through so many experiences since we've connected. I'm so grateful, and I really want others to be able to have that experience, because it has been amazing. So thank you, spirit guides. We are sending our love. I am sending my love, and we will talk to you soon. Good night.